Hello, everybody. This is Prepsy. I'm doing a review of the patch that's coming up. Let's just jump right in. Really quickly, the Dark Paladin got a shield that every time she's attacked, she'll get a shield, and her damage will be increased by 30% when she has a shield activated. So the shield is proportionate to her defense. I'm not sure how much the shield... how much HP it's possible for the shield to have. Could be a huge buff. It could make her absolutely impossible to deal with, because not only does her shield get better when she has more defense, but she has more defense. So her shield, so the HP, the shield gets better in two ways, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. It gets more HP, and because she has more defense, each point of HP goes a longer way. And then on top of that, if she still has a shield, then her damage gets increased. So that could be a very big buff for her. It could mean that you absolutely have to bring monsters like Tessa to the table to deal with her. Dark Pioneer. Inhale Magic. Got a buff. I think it's a pretty significant buff. It increases the attack bar of your allies by 20% if you successfully steal beneficial effects. What this means is he will mess with cleave teams much more. So if I bring in my Tiana with a bunch of Shield Will runes across my team, and the Dark Pioneer goes, and he steals everyone's beneficial effects, and he has a bunch of Shield, and then he has Will runes on him. Before, I'd be like, okay, Tiana's S3. Wipe all those away and go with my strategy anyway. Now, he would be like, well, I just stole beneficial effects. Let me move my allies' attack bar up 20%. And, oh, look, you have no will runes or shield runes to protect you. Now I win. So now he messes things up. You should be seeing him a lot more in arena defense. He might be good on arena offense. Honestly, other than like he's kind of like Tiana now. Other than Tiana, I don't think there's the monster that wipes away someone's beneficial effects and also boosts people's attack bars at the same time. So that's pretty good for him. And I happen to know that Pioneers have a fairly high base speed. So he can be used, like, you don't even need Despair runes on him because he boosts your allies' attack bar, so you can be relying on your allies to do the quote-unquote what the Despair runes would have been doing, which is interrupting their team and interrupting their plan. So the more that I think about it, it's a pretty huge buff. You might see him more in RTA, you might see him more on different defenses. This particular, I believe his S3, I think it might always be used first in the code, and he'll be a lot more annoying. He'll be more annoying. The counter to him will be to bring monsters that don't have any will runes on them. So it is a debuff to your will runes. You counter him by not having will or shield. So shield's a little bit different. Shield, he might deal his damage and then steal effects, and if he deals his damage and then steals effects, then maybe he would break through the shield runes before he does his damage. But the counter to him is to not bring any beneficial effects, and then maybe you get to go before the monsters that he like. Then he doesn't get to buff. Then he doesn't get to increase the attack bar of his allies. So, just a thought there. Unicorn Light. I've never played with any unicorn whatsoever. I believe the light one and the dark one were the worst of all of them, strangely enough. So they probably needed a buff. I'm not sure if this passive is for her unicorn form or human form. It messes with Lushan. That's all I can say. This passive messes with Lushan and messes with cleave teams. Messes with teams in general. It's probably a good buff for her. Not sure how much of a difference it will make. I know the unicorns all sort of suffer from the bad AI on defense, so she might be more of an offense monster, but this is more of a defensive ability in my opinion. So we'll see. Archangel, water, got a buff. Absolutely needs a buff. I'm not sure if this buff did anything that's relevant for him. Reducing a cooldown by 1 turn is huge. Adding 10% more HP recovery can be huge. The reason why I say this is may not have done anything for him is because the Water Archangel always suffered from people bringing heal block. If you heal block a monster and they have a Water Archangel in the team, then that Water Archangel does nothing. Like, nothing. And that is still the case. So, I don't know. We will see. It makes the Archangel better versus Lushan when it's on Nemesis runes, and your other monsters are on Will runes. But I don't think this. I think the buff needed to happen, and I think this is a very. I think. I think this might not be the direction that they needed to go for the buff. They might have needed to say removes one debuff from all targets and then heals for 30%. I think that might have been the better way to go. Now against monsters that don't have a heal block, he's going to be even better. And against heal block, he's going to be exactly as bad as he was before. So I guess they're saying you have to bring a heal block against the Water Archangel. That's what they're saying. Wind Archangel. I think this is another buff that doesn't really make much of a difference overall. Normally, if you have a Wind Archangel and you are using the Wind Archangel on offense, you are going to revive your ally as soon as you can. You're not going to wait for 2 allies to die. If you are using it on defense, you will be programmed. The computer will revive the ally as soon as it can. It's not going to wait for 2 allies to die. So what I normally do against Wind Archangel is I kill a monster, Wind Archangel revives it, I kill the Wind Archangel. That's still how I'm going to be combating them. Now, if I kill 2 monsters, the Wind Archangel will have a little bit less HP, but he'll be reviving 2 monsters. So I think it's kind of a side grade in there. All I can say about it is it's not a debuff. But I'm not entirely sure how big of a buff it is. Water Dragon Knight. I am not sure. I'm not convinced that he needed a buff, but I think this is an appropriate buff for him if he needed it. So removes 1 harmful effect except inability effects at the end of your turn. Even better on Violent. Now he's harder to keep an armor break on if you can get an armor break on him. They are encouraging you to build a lot of resistance on him. Good monster, now even a better monster. Dragon Knight Fire. The inflicted damage of 1 attack won't exceed 35%. That would be 3 attacks kill him. 2 won't exceed 30%. Now it's going to take 4 attacks to kill him. Mostly, the counters that I typically use, like Stella, won't make that big of a difference versus those. It does kind of make a difference versus Lushan because Even though he's a fire monster, Lushan would kill him because you don't build a lot of HP on your Dragon Knight, and then Lushan has exactly 3 attacks. Now you need a 4th before you can kill the Dragon Knight, so Lushan will not one-shot him. Dragon Knight, Light. His passive used to activate whenever someone attacked an ally. Now it activates whenever someone attacks an ally or when one of his allies gets a turn. It used to be that his passive increased his attack power by 20% up to 10 times. Now it increases his attack power by 10% up to 20 times. So I'm not entirely sure how much of a difference that will make for him. It makes, I think it's overall a buff only because it makes them sort of damned if they do and damned if they don't. Like, if I am attacking his allies and trying to kill his allies, then he is gaining his stacks of attack percentage buff faster. But if I am attacking him and I don't kill him, then I'm leaving his allies around to take turns, and then they will eventually be increasing his attack percentage faster. So, I don't know. Gives him a direction, I guess. I think it's overall a buff. It's a very nice buff for him. He needs a buff. Fire Periet. Got a big buff. Attacks all enemies 3 times with a spinning circle, each strike having a 30% chance to stun the enemy, and elongates harmful effects on the enemy by one turn with a 20% chance when used with full HP. Okay. They changed it to attacks all enemies 3 times with a spinning circle of fire, with each strike having a 30% chance to remove 1 beneficial effect and stun the enemy for 1 turn. Increases your attack speed for 2 turns after the attack when used with full HP. So now you can build her on Swift and have her dispel and stun people. And 30% across 3 attacks is actually a pretty good chance to remove beneficial effects and land some stuns. And then her attack speed gets increased if they did it when she was on max HP, which if you're building her on Swift, that's what you want her to do. You want her to act first. And if she acts first, she will be on max HP. So that's kind of cool. That is a big buff to the Fire Perrier. She is now pretty worth building. On Swift, on Fast Despair, whatever. You might want to consider breaking her out and building her. It is also a debuff to all of your will runes. Because now, every time they make more options to get rid of someone's will runes, they're debuffing your will runes, right? Because it means that you may as well have not had those will runes. You may as well have put them into energy runes, right? Because the more HP would increase your survivability. It is also a buff to endure runes because you want to have high resistance so that you don't get stunned or don't have your beneficial effects removed by her. Technically, it's a buff to resistance in general. So, something to think about. Cannon Girl Water, very small buff, will do the exact same thing she did before. Fire Cannon Girl. I have no clue. I have never seen her, never faced her. It looks like adding a defense break to someone and then dealing damage that destroys their max HP. You could put her on Destroy Runes, I guess. Makes her nice versus certain teams that you want to destroy their HP for. but might not necessarily be something, doesn't feels more niche to me still.